All right, let me take you back to the Lihle Expo Center where my colleague Dan Moyane is live there with political analyst Lihle Ngcobozi. Dan.
Masego, good afternoon. If Cyril Ramaphosa, I think, was born in 1952 and he was Secretary General in 1991, then he would have been 39 years old when he became Secretary General of the ANC in 1991. As far as I know, Lihle Ngcobozi is 51, thereabouts, I think.
Yeah.
So he's older at the moment than what Cyril was when he took over as the SG of the ANC way back in 1991 under Nelson Mandela as president. But I guess at 51, they're still young. Lihle is with me here. That's Lihle Ngcobozi, an analyst. Lihle Ngcobozi is Secretary General. It's a very important role.
It's a very important role, one administratively. I think it really is a huge undertaking, given not only the challenges of the organization, but also the financial issues that are plaguing the organization as well as an employer. So I think the SG has a lot on his plate, or the incoming SG rather, has a lot on his plate to be able to deal with the capacity issues within his office, and of course having the two DSD, Secretary General, aid in being able to help administratively.
Yeah, I mean, Peggy was saying he's coming in, and for the first time he's got two deputies.
But I also think the SG role is very important in terms of the power dynamics within the party.
And you know, in the constitution of the ANC, in terms of office bearers, the SG, if the president is not available and the deputy president is not available, the SG chairs take over in charge of the organization.
Precisely, and I think that is quite a critical moment for Lihle Ngcobozi. I think looking forward into the party to say whatever aspirations he might have, this is the time to prove himself and to play his cards right within this position. I think will set him well should he want to contend in the future.
Yeah, he's looking forward to this role. I mean, within an hour of him being elected or announced as the outright winner for the Secretary Generalship, on his Twitter page, he already put the ANC SG.
I mean,
he didn't waste time.
Him razzmatazz for nothing, I guess.
Very quick, yeah. The other aspect now, which we must talk about, because it's happening inside there, it's now the voting on the 200 nominations, the additional members of the National Executive Committee. The top 7 is done and dusted. Those are the office bearers, the officials of the organization. But the rest of the NEC is going to be about 80. How critical is it in your view, Lihle, that this NEC should be one that Ramaphosa can rely on with his renewal agenda for his next 5 years?
I mean, I think the role of the NEC is very important, and I think for Cyril Ramaphosa, as we've seen, coming out of the Phala Phala report and the NEC having to deliberate on that, and the decisions that have come out thereafter, did show that there was support that he had from the NEC, given the events that unfolded. And I think going forward, this NEC structure, I think, is one that he really needs to take seriously to be able to galvanize his support beyond the top 7, because the NEC plays a very critical role in being the decisive authority of the party. And if you don't have that kind of broad-based support within the larger body of the NEC, you will run into some challenges within the organization.
Yeah, the KZN was the biggest loser, KZN ANC, in terms of the top 7. I even asked Peggy earlier the question, and he said, well, they're teaching us something. And he said he was engaging with the like of Sboniso Duma, the chairperson, and said, you guys, we need to learn from this. And the problem started in 2017, according to him. Now, going forward, those dynamics with the new NEC, I mean, should we foresee a picture where possibly, let's call it the losing side in terms of the top 7 roles, because none of the top 7 officials are from KwaZulu-Natal again, a second time in a row in the ANC conference. Should we expect them to try and galvanize to make sure that their candidates, those who be nominated on the NEC, make it?
I mean, that would be the next strategic step, I think, for the blocks that have come out as the biggest losers. And if you don't consolidate that, I think you have lost the game entirely. So I think KZN needs to respond and be able to, as they were horse trading earlier, to be quite serious about this kind of pushing and lobbying for the broader NEC structure. And if they don't do that, I think the KZN over the years we're seeing that they're not the king players that they thought they were. And they should really think about what message are they signaling as a province to say that they don't have as much clout over critical power decisions that are taking place within the ANC, as they did before. And I think one of the issues that they've had is this reliance on the former President Jacob Zuma, which I think has really come to sort of bite them. And they need to sort of make a very clear, decisive break and emerge in a new identity and a new character and a new formation.
Yeah, and he's likely to face disciplinary action from the new NEC. I put the question to Peggy earlier, Lihle, because there's been calls for that. Derek Hanekong, sitting where I'm sitting now, was talking to him yesterday. He was saying, well, I mean, he's no longer in the NEC, but he hopes the new NEC will take some disciplinary measures. I mean, the rowdiness and attempts to disrupt the conference on day one here by delegates is something else that needs to be looked at. But if you look at that, then do you think Cyril might emerge generally from this conference with an NEC that should be more tilted towards him than the outgoing one? In light of what we've just discussed, we should give him a stronger hand in terms of moving boldly forward.
If he does, I think this is an opportunity for him to present us, as the public and the organization, a different kind of leadership that he has displayed in his first term. Right? People have characterized him as an indecisive, not having a strong sense of authority over the party, and more generally not seeming as if he actually wants the role of number one. And I think going into his tenure this time around, he really needs to be very decisive about him being the president and his authority, and making use of his proxies of power within the organization to be able to push his agenda specifically on organizational renewal. And not having that kind of decisive authority almost bit him again in this run-up of the elective conference. So he really needs a shift in his style of leadership.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what the NEC is going to look like later on after the elections they have happened. That's Lihle Ngcobozi. She's with me here in Nasrec, one of our analysts today. We'll continue here on eNCA, DSTV Channel 43 with more analysis and maybe also get you some reaction. And I don't know if it's a sign, Masiho, the heavens have opened up here at Nasrec. Maybe it's a blessing that the top 7 is being given by Mother Nature. But we're going to go to a break now. Stay with us.